now I've completed my outline, and I made it extra dark so that it would show up easier on this little camera. Normally I'd make it very light so that it would be easier to erase. But you can see here, if you compare this outline, and then these lines out here are very light, so it is very difficult to see. But my main point here is to show that the outline is the entire object and not around the hand itself, but around the whole block. Now the next thing I'm going to do is separate the light from the dark. So in order to do that, I'm going to take a look at the shadow line. Now the shadow line is that point in which no more light passes. So you'll see that if you can see up close, this will probably get blurry. It's easier to see it here or here. You'll notice that it goes from light, and then there's like a gray. We call this middle tone or halftones. These middle tones turn and turn, and they get darker and darker and darker until there is a point at which it's the pure shadow, and from that point all the way to the edge is exactly the same value. And so this is called the shadow line, where no more light passes a certain point, and then the shadow is just a flat, even tone. And so that's the shadow line. That's what we're paying attention to, where the shadow line is, and then we'll turn the form, and everything past that line is going to be just the same dark value. And so my shadow line comes down here. There's a little bump around there. Maybe you can see it. See that bump that I'm doing. Now this bump, I can notice that the bump protrudes, and it lines up with this line right here. So my line right here is protruding right to there. And then it goes around like that, and it goes down, and then over. Now notice this, and then I made this here. That's too low. You can see already this thing should be above that thing. It should be somewhere there. So on my drawing, I need to think about it being more like that. So what about this? I made this come down here, and that lines up with that. But over here, I might be a little bit on the lower side, but we'll live with it for now. We'll wait and see. Jury's out on that one. But anyway, as I go down, I can fill this in basically as a flat shape. So we can say that shadows are flat as a hat and flatter than that, to make a Dr. Seuss rhyme out of it. So shadows are flat. So when we talk about shadows, we're talking only about the flat dark shape. When we talk about midtones, then we're talking about that turning gray that happens beyond the shadow line. Now the point of following the shadow line is just to show that there is such a thing. There is such a thing where after that point there is no more, it doesn't get darker. You've come to the limit of how dark it's going to get. And so then right here we have this. It goes around like that. So you can see that I'm really getting this, I'm really just drawing light shapes and dark shapes. And then we can fill them in. Alright, I'm going to finish the shadows, and then I'll be back.